Buona dimineața. It is day 53 for Paul and Tammy backpacking and brews on the Via Transilvanica, our trek across Romania. It is the 25th of May. It is a Monday morning. It's in the mid 50s, probably, maybe a little even higher. But we have we hope to finish on day 60 in Terra Banatica. But this is day 53, and we are leaving the village of Prigor and heading toward Crusovat. I think it's Crusovat. And it is going to be at least an 18-mile day. Blah. So I'm not happy about that. Temperatures start in the 50s, mid 50s, and heading up in the high 70s today. So right now we're walking on the road out of Prigor, heading south. Well, looks like we're heading east based on where the sun is, but south or southerly, I guess. And we've got 2,200 feet elevation gain today. We've got some road walking. We've got some mountain climbing, not climbing, but mountain trekking. We're going to be in the woods. We're going to get all of it today, I think. But passing maybe through a couple small villages. And anyway, last night we stayed at the Pensione Prigorel. It's a pretty neat place. They only have, so I reserved it through travelminute.ro. They're not on booking.com. I tried contacting them via WhatsApp. There was no response. So that didn't work. So they did offer, they were on Google Maps, and Travel Minute was their way to book them. So I basically paid 40 RON for to hold the room. And then it was another, I think it was a total of 35 RON. So pretty reasonable. We had our own little bungalow, as they called it. Two twin beds inside a cabin. You had to walk to the bathroom and the shower. So it's just a TV. It didn't work that well. Just didn't get the channels. But we did have Wi-Fi. We did have electricity. And there was a running toilet on the premises. So we are running water. We're happy about that. And we got dinner, and we had breakfast this morning. Dinner was fried chicken with French fries, and we also had pickles and a nice bowl of soup with lots of bread. That was very good. This morning was an omelet, some cucumbers, tomatoes, a little bit of red pepper, some cured meat, bread, jam, butter, coffee, and Tammy had a cup of hot chocolate that we brought along with us. So, and it was for breakfast and dinner. I forgot the price. I'll remember it in a second. But it was a reasonable deal. I would recommend it. It was convenient. It was unfortunately on the far side of Prigor, so we had, at the end of the day, it was just more road walking to get to it. But fortunately, we stopped at a little magazine mixed and picked up some beer and we got a Sprite, and we were able to have that. They had a pool on the premises. Probably could have been 8 feet deep, but they only had about 2.5 feet of water in it. But he said it's cold, and I jumped in it, and it felt good. And then the shower later, But yeah, it was kind of reminded me of one of those what do you call it? Like a motel along Route 1 back in maybe the 60s and 70s, where you just have a bunch of cabins along the road, and they'd maybe have an outdoor pool, kind of like that. Although those motels usually had bathrooms in them, but this didn't. So pretty interesting layout. The host was very friendly, of course, and did get our stampila for the booklet. So it was a nice day, and got a whole lot more sleep there than we did the night before at Canton Crusovat. So anyway, 18-mile day at least in the sun. It's warm, cool now, but it's going to get hotter. So we'll see how the day goes. And Kalibuna we just have. Geez, this is 8 more of these days left. Counting this one. Yoo-haw! Alrighty, so a little ways past Prigor, we left the road, and now we're on this farm road, heading toward what you can see ahead of us, the mountains. So excited about that. Here comes our climb. But wanted to mention this afternoon we are being picked up in Crusovat. There were no accommodations that we wanted in Crusovat, so there was like a pensione gym or something that he was full, and then there was another place that was like a dormitory style accommodation. We said, nah, we don't want that. Although, you know, it seems most of the places we go this time of year, they're pretty empty and it's just us, but nah. So I found a pension nearby on booking.com. Booking.com, as you probably know, tells you if there are no accommodations in one place, here are the next closest ones. And so I picked one that looked fairly larger and found a pensione Liana in Mahadia, which is about 4 miles away. Now granted, it's windy roads and everything, but I contacted them via WhatsApp and asked them, hey, my wife and I are hiking the Via Transilvanica. We want to stay at your place on this night. Can you possibly pick us up from Crusovat, where the trail meets in Crusovat, and pick us up today and then drop us off tomorrow morning? Yeah, we'll do anything you want to do, sure. So, okay, so made a reservation there. The gentleman, I think, is going to come pick us up this afternoon. Just got to let him know when, what time and where, which we'll do. So that's, we think, will work out for us today. What else did I want to? Oh yeah, so the total bill minus the deposit for last night was 200. Well, so the bill minus the deposit of 40 RON and 50 cents, or whatever they call them, was 264. So the balance for the room was 94.50, and then the remaining equates to about 170 RON, which is, divide that by 4, and you get about $42 for dinner for the two of us and for breakfast. So not a bad deal. We think good value, fairly reasonable. You're right there. You don't have to move from the site. No walking to a restaurant or anything like that. So it worked out real well for us, and we could relax in our cabin during the times that we're not in the restaurant eating. So, and by the way, he did say we're the only ones there. There were no. He had other cabins available, or bungalows, as he calls them, and we were the only occupants, I think. But there was a family, I think, in another quarters, which I think they had their own bathroom. So, but yeah, worked out real well for us. And more to come. We'll see up the hill. A little wet through here. Oh boy, mushy and water. You don't know where water is. The grass is real tall. Waterfall over here. Redirecting of water. Whew. Yeah, what a mess. So much for dry shoes. A little surprising, they've got us walking on this wall, as far as we can tell, because there's swampland to the right of us and the creek to the left. So we've got no other choice but to walk on this wall, which is a little precarious to say. Just came into an opening from the woods. I don't know if you can hear it or not. There's a pond up front. All the frogs are chirping. I don't know if you call that a symphony or just noise. According to the guidebook, this is the 1200th kilometer stone, or kilometer stone 1200, 1200. And this is the way, that's the way to Putna, where Tammy's heading. And there's the Via Transilvanica. So the route looks longer than this route that we are taking. So we're deviating from the Via. Sorry, see you later, Via. And we're going to take this road into Putna and then head up the hill on some side trail that is labeled on the app. And it looks like it's a shorter distance. So we'll see how that goes. You never know. It's always a gamble. Kalibuna. So in our travels across Romania, we've seen a bunch of these older buildings, or older looking buildings, and it's really hard to judge how old they really are. If you look at something like this back in the States, you'd say it's at least 200 years old. But we've heard different, could be built in the 60s, could be a couple hundred years old. But they got a new downspout and gutters on it. So they're trying to preserve the roof and everything around it. But just see a lot of those. And you always wonder what they're about. Also, just wanted to mention, so at Canton Crusovat, talking to the host there, Radul, he was saying that he's a private citizen. He's just a, Joe Blow that bought the property. The property sits on its own little acreage there in the middle of this national forest. So it's his private property. He owns it. He bought it at auction something like 12 years ago. And he said that he is surrounded by virgin beech forest. And it's the largest virgin beech forest in entire Europe. And the UN declared it a UNESCO World Natural Site, not heritage, but natural site. And so what a wonderful place to be situated in. Well, hello. All right. Hello. We're just passing through. Yeah, you're doing good. Yeah, we'll see you later. See you later. See you later. Just made it to the top of the first rise coming out of Putna. Not the Putna where we started. Different Putna, which had a market, a little magazine mix or something like that. Not that brand name, but it was close. So it looks like, even though we're not on the Via Transilvanica, we are on this blue blaze with the white back, which we think is a bike trail. And it may be we've seen reference to it before. It might be a Via Transilvanica bike trail or something, not associated with them though. Anyway, we may not be on the Via Transilvanica, but we are on a trail. Made it to the top of our second hill above Putna. Shortly we're going to be rejoining the Via Transilvanica from this trail, the blue with the white, along this way. So after about 5.5 miles or so, not being off the trail, but we're at the 5.5 mile mark from where we started, we're back on the Via Transilvanica where the blue and white route joins in, and it's a shared path up that way from here. So one of the folks we talked with said that Romania is famous for their honey And so here's a honey production facility alongside the road, and just a whole bunch of honeycombs. We saw up there further a guy in a whole bee outfit. So originally thought the bee trucks were to provide bees for the crops, but it's the other way around. They're providing the honey or the pollen so that the bees can make honey. Alrighty, well, just at the edge of the village of Sumita, S-U-M-I-T-A, at the top of the hill earlier today, we did take a shortcut, except it ended up being not a shortcut, more of a long cut. Kilometers down, it showed, instead of it zigzagging, the Via Transilvanica zigzagged on the road down the hill, and the Via Transilvanica app showed basically a straight line one direction and a straight line other direction, which looked as if it was a distance saver. So sure enough, the first straight line was from the edge of the village of Sumita, and we could see that from where we were, from the Via Transilvanica trail. We said, oh, well, this looks good, let's take it. Well, the next right turn, started out as a trail and turned into just nothing. It was just a straight, almost downhill through scrub brushes and thorny things, and then you had to take a big jump to get back on the road where the Via Transilvanica trail was. So not a good shortcut, more of a long cut, but there you have it. Also, after we got down to the bottom of the hill, and on this day, this trek, you go down from Sumita, and you come in to the edge of a village, and there's a great park bench sitting right by the road, and it was dry, it was shaded, and we decided to stop and have a rest. Well, I left today with about 1.25 liters, and was pretty much out of my water by the time we got to that village at the bottom of the hill, where you soon make a right turn. But sure enough, we followed a creek almost entirely down the hill. That looked pretty good, and so I filled up with water there. Now, I filled up a full liter. I dropped in 2 tablets, the purification tablets, just to be sure. And even if we were using a filter like Sawyer Squeeze or something, I still would have dropped at least a tablet in, because I'm just not too comfortable with all the sheep and cows and the livestock that's around here. So anyway, these tablets work 30 minutes after you drop them in, you're good to go. So in less than 30 minutes, I'll have water that I can drink. It might taste a little chlorinated, but hey, at least it's potable. Oh, and worth mentioning, many of the places we've gone to have said, they don't drink the water out of the tap, and they don't go into great detail why. And sure enough, at the last place, we asked, hey, is the water in the sink potable? And we presumed he understood us, because he said, oh yeah, don't drink that water. Here, drink this water over here. And he had a hose line hooked up outside that he had a dog dish underneath that he sent us to, and we presumed that this was the potable water, which we have, and filled up our butt water things today, and so far we're not sick. But yeah, a lot of places they don't drink the water out of their taps. They buy water separately in plastic containers or whatever. So we're not really sure what the true answer is, but I think as long as we're not drinking a lot of it for many years, hopefully that's less harmful to us. Okay, so if you saw the video yesterday, as we got lower in the valley, we descended all along a creek yesterday for the most part, until the very end where we walk along the road. But anyway, before we reached the road, I forget what village we were approaching, we came across a snake, fairly large snake. He looked to be 3.5 feet, maybe 4 feet long. And he had what I thought was sort of a triangular head. So I took the video and I took some pictures and I looked them up online last night when I wasn't sleeping. And it looked to be a non-venomous snake. Looks like they have vipers here, and there's a snot nose or snort nose viper and another viper, and they're throughout the regions, not just in Romania. But this snake looked like something, almost a word, I forget the exact spelling of it, but it almost sounded like it was a Carpathian name or similar to the word Carpathian. AEC something, but it seemed to be that, at least that's what I thought it was. Couldn't tell for sure, the markings weren't that distinct, but it seemed to be it was a non-venomous snake. So, and we've seen that snake, which was different than the other snakes we've seen. The other snakes we've seen almost look like big worms, and those might be the smooth, we call them smooth snakes, which is the species. So today, no snakes yet. I have seen a couple of dead fire salamanders on the road, but not a whole lot of wildlife today, frankly. Tammy saw a deer earlier in the day, but we don't even see a lot of those, which is okay. Not a big deal. We're not here to see the wildlife. So just wanted to share a little bit more information about the snake, what we saw yesterday. Oh, so also wanted to say that today is the 25th of May, 2026, and the East Coast of the United States is waking up now, or very shortly, to Memorial Day. So today is Memorial Day in the United States, and both Tammy and I served in the Air Force, the U.S. Air Force, both retired from the U.S. Air Force, and fortunately I can say that for the years that we served, I don't think any of our close friends died in combat that were also served. So that's kind of nice. I mean, some have perished since then, but as we get older, that happens. But we knew of no close friends who died in combat. But anyway, we thought it was worthwhile to just say, hey, it is Memorial Day. Good time to remember those who served, gave the ultimate sacrifice, lost their lives, or even lost limbs or lost mental capacity. And there's a whole lot of traumatic brain injury folks out there, and there are folks that have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and certainly we want to remember those who did serve and were wounded or killed one way or another, and even those who served and passed away via natural causes. We thank them for their service, for the time that they spent protecting the United States and hopefully making the United States a better place and also the world a better place. That could be debated, of course, but anyway, we're certainly glad for their. We appreciate their sacrifice. We're not glad for their sacrifice. We appreciate their sacrifice, and we want to honor them. Just wanted to give a shout out to the Tashu Liesa social folks and say, for all the time that we've been on this trail, we can certainly say that each kilometer stone is a welcome sight. You may be lost, you may think you're lost, or you may be having a hard day, but once you see a kilometer stone, you're like, woo, on the trail still, and we just made another kilometer on that 1,400 kilometer journey. So yeah, shout out to those folks at Tashu Liesa Social and all the volunteers that put up those kilometer stones and maintain them. just it's a great sight to see them, great sight to see the trailblazings, great sight to see the posts as well. So yeah, a lot of work put into this for sure, and yeah, just to say it's certainly a welcome sight to see each one of them. We got a stork in the field right next to us. I wonder when he's going to take off. Oh, look at that. Wow. Sure, that's a couple. Cool. Wonder what they're eating. We are almost at the 17-mile mark today, and we just climbed the steep hill up above Petnik, and you'll see it in a second. It is right down there, like center Main Street. We were down there a few minutes ago. Well, maybe a half hour. But oh, glorious. What a wonderful view from up on top of this hill. Just got to get over this hill and reach Crusovat, which should be in that direction.